Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Mary Ibrahim, and I am joined right now as part of the Thought Leaders series of Dubai Healthcare City Authority's participation in Arab Health 2021 with Professor Stefan Duplessis, the Dean of Research and Graduate Studies and the Chair of Basic Medical Sciences and a Professor of Physiology at the College of Medicine at Mohammed bin Rashid University. He completed his tertiary education at Stellenbosch University in South Africa and remained as faculty, where he rose through the ranks to full professor and served 3 terms as head of the Division of Medical Physiology in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. His research interests are in the field of male reproductive physiology, resulting in more than 98 peer-reviewed articles and nearly 5,500 citations. Wow.
Thank you very much.
He also has to his credit 27 book chapters and 4 books, and has supervised numerous doctoral and master's students. Professor Stefan serves on the editorial board of 2 international journals and acts as an ad hoc reviewer for various funding bodies and scientific journals. Professor Duplessis has recently been elected as member of the Mohammed bin Rashid Academy of Scientists and is a National Research Foundation B-rated researcher and the recipient of the Fulbright Scholarship, as well as several other research and teaching awards. Wonderful, wonderful resume. Thank you so much for joining us today from Mohammed bin Rashid University.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm really glad to be here.
So we hear that Mohammed bin Rashid University has recently announced the launch of its first fully sponsored doctoral program in biomedical sciences. Can you please tell us more about the program and how it differs from other programs of the same topic?
Yes. So we're really excited about our doctoral program. Being a young university, it's quite a achievement to already have started a PhD program, which has recently been approved. So as part of our task as educational institution, we are supposed to do research and train scientists for the future.
Yes.
And we've already established the master's program. Our first master's students are graduating this academic year. And starting next fall, we will start our PhD in Biomedical Sciences. So this is quite a broad-based program that will give the opportunity to students to learn all aspects of biomedical sciences. It's a 4-year program. As you've said, it's a sponsored program, so tuition fees will be waived, plus students will receive a stipend. What is interesting about this program, in year 1, in the first year, there will be some didactic sessions, some compulsory subjects, but then there's also electives, and the electives are quite numerous, so they can select from various areas of biomedical sciences. So they're not placed into a box and the specific program. And then leading also already starting in year 1 of the program, they've got the opportunity to start with their research, and that will expand during year 2, and year 3 and 4 is purely research-based.
So early on, they can start with their research topic. Wonderful. And all information is available on the MBRU website?
On the MBRU website,
That's great. So what are the career opportunities after earning a PhD?
The career opportunities, we often ask this question, what can you do with a PhD? And most students think the only thing you can do is follow the typical academic track. We do a postdoctoral fellowship, move on to becoming an assistant professor and move through the ranks. But you can also pursue research actively, so you can join research institutions where you can become a senior scientist, you can join service laboratories. But then you can also diversify, and with the current day and age, there's lots of opportunities to branch the field, because the PhD program teaches you skills, and skills that are required and can be applied in various aspects.
Yes.
So there's skills like writing and communication, so you can go into scientific writing, you can become a scientific communicator. Skills, analytical skills that is needed and required for companies like, you can become a project manager, you can become a consultant. There's also the opportunity to maybe go into patent law, work for a law firm to write patents and do some research there. And then typically you can go into industry where biotechnology is a big thing, so you can
100%.
get involved in
There's
biotechnology.
definitely a rise in the demand for biomedical specialists in the country, considering the current atmosphere of genomics, everything, basically.
That's
and I think it would be a wonderful opportunity. And we say happy birthday to MBRU. They just turned 5 years old this month. Where are you today in terms of research for such a young university?
So, very interesting question. I think being only 5 years young, what we've achieved so far is incredible in terms of research, because the mandate is both research and education. And the first few years, the focus is on education to develop your academic programs, but we didn't let research behind, and we focus on that as well. So if we look at our infrastructure, we've got amazing laboratories, research laboratories, the MBRU Biomedical Research Center, and we can only thank Al Jalila Foundation for that they've sponsored us, and our laboratories support us in that aspect. But also, if we look at our research outputs, we've already published more than 600 papers over the last 5 years, and not only quantity, but quality. So if you look at our field citation index, it's 1.65, meaning that our research carries 65% more weight than the average manuscript that's getting published.
Yes, you do have a very active faculty. I sit on the MBRU IRB, and it's very impressive, the number, like you said, the quality and the quantity of research studies that come through. In addition to the student research projects as part of their undergraduate curriculum, and you have lots of collaborations with Mediclinic City Hospital, with Moorfields, with Al Jalila Children's Hospital, and that just speaks to the full vision that's at MBRU to provide the best experience to their students.
That's absolutely correct.
Let's talk about COVID-19 for a minute and how that might have affected your work, or maybe the type of research that's being conducted.
As you know, COVID-19 affected everything, and it affected research as well. And I won't lie, it had a big negative effect immediately on research, because we were denied access to our research facilities, work from home policy. So if you were involved in wet lab research, you couldn't conduct your research. But to me, what was more important is to see how our researchers responded to the COVID-19 situation, and to how they reinvented themselves and their research. So they took on opportunities of maybe conducting in silico work, and now that we're back to the lab, they can use the in silico work to enhance the hypothesis and test it in the lab. So that's a nice aspect. Also, changing their research focus, maybe applying their skills but to COVID, and to do research on COVID.
Exactly.
So funding was initially ring-fenced, and resources was all dedicated for COVID, but I think now with the interest in biomedical research, it's opening up so much doors. We're putting right on the center stage. There will be lots of future opportunities for biomedical researchers.
Adapt or die, and publish or perish, basically. Wonderful. Like we just mentioned, the output of your academic faculty is amazing. While we keep hearing that academics find it difficult to find time for research, how do you foster this culture of research among your faculty? How do you provide the support and the encouragement for them to actually carve out time for research and contribute?
Finding time to do research in academia is not unique to MBRU and the UAE. It's a global phenomenon, because you have to balance between your educational portfolio, your administrative, clinical, and then research. It's how you balance your time. So it is a problem specifically at MBRU, because we're a young institution. The emphasis was on developing the educational infrastructure. But as we're maturing, we're getting more faculty on board, so the load will be distributed more equally. We're also thinking in terms of getting different tracks, maybe a research track only experience. But then we're also offering a support in the sense that we've got postdoctoral fellowships available that researchers can use the postdocs to build up their research group, and also to enhance their research outputs. So I think we're very sensitive for that. We've also established the deanship for research and graduate studies that will create this whole ecosystem and support the researchers. So I think we're moving forward to really foster and enhance a culture of research.
Yes, it's just embedded into the culture that everybody does research. And so that's for the faculty. What about the students? Because I think MBRU students are some of the most research savvy students I've met. I've had the honor of looking at some of their presentations, their posters. They are very well aware of everything that goes into conducting scientific research.
You're quite right, and you've already highlighted some of the initiatives that I'm involved in. We're currently in the fourth industrial revolution, and there's a big blur between what is going on in biomedical sciences, biology, technology, and everything. And I think the main drive now is to train people, physicians, clinicians of the future, for jobs that maybe doesn't exist or jobs that will change completely from how we know it as now.
Yes.
And when MBRU developed their curriculum, they really took that into consideration. So they embedded certain courses in the program. One of the courses is, for instance, the innovation course, which we're one of only a few universities in the entire world that offers a course on innovation. And then we've got a longitudinal program, 5 courses of research, starting off with the epidemiology of research, our biostatistics courses, and then you go into your research methods. And in the 5th semester of the undergraduate program of the medical program, they have to conduct a research project. So they have to write the project proposal, do the research, analyze the data, and present the data. So I think it's really embedded in our curriculum. But then we foster a culture. We always encourage them to participate wherever they can and become involved and translate their research. So that is at undergraduate level. At our postgraduate level, if you look at our Hamdan bin Mohammed College of Dental Medicine, the Masters in Dental Sciences, although it's a clinical postgraduate program, research forms an integral component, and they have to conduct a project during the 3 years of studies as well.
Yes. Do you see room for collaboration between academia and other industries in healthcare and outside to push research forward?
Definitely. I think one of the big things that we're embarking on now with our new strategy is to establish an integrated academic healthcare system. We want to bring education, research, and clinical services closer together within the greater Dubai. And we see research as the glue that will bind all of this together.
Agreed.
But whatever you do, you cannot leave industry out of this, because industry supplies you, but you can also deliver to industry. So I think it's really important to have a close collaboration and a bond between industry and research and academics.
And this real world experience is invaluable, definitely, to not to always be confined to the lab or to the research mindset, but to the actual applications that can take off and benefit society. Professor, how do you see the future of research in academia in the UAE over the next decade?
So if you look at the strategy of the UAE, one of it is to move to a knowledge hub, to be a knowledge-based economy. And you can't create knowledge without research. So I see a very bright future for research as a whole, but also specifically in terms of academia. So I really see that there's a big future. If you look at Strategy 2031, the scientific strategy, as well as the strategy report that was recently released by Minister of Health and Prevention, Moab, they all speak to research. And medical research, biomedical research in specific. One of the exciting things is that they are looking at establishing a body that can regulate research within the UAE and bring it closer together, something like the NIH in America or something like the National Research Foundation. And that will be great for academia because it will leverage funding opportunities. And research, you cannot do research without funding.
Good regulation definitely always attracts funding, sponsors, because people want to know what's expected of them and how to do it within the confines of the regulatory framework. Professor Stefan, this has been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all for attending this interview. Please stay tuned for another one from MBRU in a couple of minutes.